Yeah.
Chris, thank you.
No, thank you.
And
It's late.
I know you've talked to a lot of people as gathering your information, and we aren't Boston, we aren't New York, we aren't. So I'm just sort of your reaction. When you say branding, you must have a feel for how this place is different than the other places you've worked. And are there some concepts that come to your mind, like
About branding?
for this particular area, or just what words come to your mind?
I'm going to put you
You can even sit on it.
Yeah.
really, thank you. God, I love these guys. I think it relates back to sort of what's the tone and tenor of the thing.
Right.
Thank you. I find, you can tell already, I'm not the most formal person. I come from a place where sort of being playful and sort of joyful and circus and all that is a big part of my background. And I found that playfulness and sort of lightheartedness is actually a really good tool in a placemaking exercise because it again breaks down boundaries. That allowing people to let their hair down and not be too terribly serious about things, allow people to say, okay, well, we're all sitting at the big picnic table together, great, right? And I think that spirit can be put into the branding. I think it's probably why I react to the branding and the logo and all as it's being used. Again, it's the right thing for a $60 million building development, but is it the right thing for a kids festival? And probably not. And I also think just in terms of a great visual cue, it should be something that's light and
There's nothing that feeds off of being Providence and Rhode Island. Nothing that speaks to, that you feel that resonates because it's here and a little different. Or is playfulness just applicable everywhere?
I think,
Yes,
I'm admitting
it
my bias towards playfulness,
Yeah.
but I do think, we've had some conversations about the difference between design innovation and art innovation. Is it an art district? Is it a design district? In a way, that's kind of a who cares distinction.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, utilizing design as a way in, right? Thinking about design. I don't know if I'm divulging something. I'm trying not to talk too much in detail about things we've discussed.
Yeah.
But Peter and I have discussed this thing about whether or not we would want to paint, the I-95 Innovation District across the One Ship Street building, as an example. My take on that is if you want to, and no matter how beautifully we do that, and I imagine we could come up with 10 really cool ways to do it, my take is if you want to be perceived as a design district, if it's going to be an art district, then heck, do something that's really high design, right? Let the design speak for yourself. Don't say it's an art district, be an art district, right? And there, I do find, and I'm not telling you something you don't know, for a city of this size, the large amount of creative, artistic, design, innovative, it's a big community. It's a big percentage considering. And it seems that there's a lot happening up here. There's some things happening up here at a high level where there's people in big theaters and there's people who are, but there's a lot of stuff happening in literally like performances in attics and really small scale art and performance stuff that I think needs a place to bubble up.
Yes, I would offer this. I don't know that we can, or I don't know that we should, not indulge in some central planning, some sort of intervention in that one ship West Side area. It's a tough sell right now. And we've got J&J is already in the building, we've got Wexford breaking ground. And I think we're going to need to begin to do things that are more proof statements as opposed to aspirational kind of marketing. But when people come here, they see some activity, they see some appealing things going on. And this is a proven concept that is being done in other innovation districts. But to do, the option, which is easy, we're busy, to do nothing, you know, I think I would caution ourselves at staff level to do nothing. That doesn't seem like a great idea, especially as we, you know, South Street Landing will be opening, West Street breaking ground, and we've got sort of activity going on one shift. But I think it's, you know, remind ourselves, as Chris was saying, on lawn that plot was, you said, with the DPW put the snow plows. Well, you know, across the street, it's actually where they actually store the snow when the snow. You know, it's not a great. It will change, but I think we ought to at least consider putting some dollars and some intelligent, you know, planning around interim activity and placemaking.
Because I thought that was a great presentation. I found myself tired and skeptical when we sort of started, and by the end of the end, it was cool.
Tired and that's not so
Yeah,
still tired though.
and I really think that your sort of strategy around partnering with the art community here is been really good. I mean, if you just walk around College Hill, you'll see some of the things that like the Risby cities have done as they sort of like miniature public art projects. I don't know if anyone's noticed them. They're really fun. I'll go all around it. One just practical question. Let's take those giant light up inflatable rabbits as an example. Are those protected in any way from vandalism, or how does that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the location. And again, like our locations are really different from rock festivals to museum settings, into places sort of like this. I mean, in some places we have put security for 24 hours a day. In some places we deflate them at night. You know, the Lawn on D was a curfew place at 10, so it was easy as an example. In San Francisco, they were in front of City Hall for 6 weeks, inflated the entire time. And that's a totally, if anyone knows City Hall in San Francisco, it's not a place that I would want to be for 24 hours a day. So it really depends. I don't know, again, if I'm divulging something I shouldn't, but I kind of feel like why not? So one of the things we've been thinking about is, so I look, you know, when I got to this lot 22, I was like, oh God, it's really tiny. At least this spot that we're working on, there's not a lot of space. There's not a lot of space for us to throw, say, a festival. Right? There are other lots we might work on, other parcels. But again, if you want to focus energy there, the one ship building provides a really interesting backdrop. And one of the things that we've done is begun to investigate the possibility of putting a big art installation on the roof. It's a great pedestal. And everyone will pay attention if it's there, and it solves our security issues immediately. I'm not saying it's the only way to do this, but it's a really interesting possibility. And again, we've talked to some community arts organizations, and we've talked to the building managers of one ship, and we're beginning to talk about it with the city. So, you know, there's a possible path to doing something there that will really, I think, draw the kind of attention and begin to create the kind of energy in the game we want.
I know these are preliminary question, but I'm excited too by the presentation. I want to touch on these.
That can be arranged. Bunny toucher.
Bring the bunnies. So one question, practical too, but then kind of maybe on the last idea you laid out, and not an expert on this, but just like the reaction on it. So one is how, if at all, I mean, there are other groups like Building Bridges that they have put out ideas around creating events, things like that. Are you planning to work with those communities, or is that how?
Like I said, I have no desire to come in and be a producer here. The idea is to sort of, and again, I'll never be able to work with everybody. Someone's going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
But if you, for instance, if we look at putting an art project on the roof of 1 Ship Street, and we could work with, and I'm just using examples, please, nobody, I'm going to leave out more people than I'm going to mention, but if we work with, the mayor's arts events, etc. office, and we work with the RISD Design Museum, and we work with, Olin's organization, and we work with, some art collective out of South Boston, South
South Providence, and we sort of put people together in a collaborative spirit to come up with what we're going to do on the roof, that's a home run. Because not only are you creating collaboration, supporting the effort, but you're getting the excitement from all of those organizations to go talk about what you're doing. You're creating buzz.
And is the idea that placemaking is drawing people and attention. And the question about, so I guess I have a question about if you, and I know these are preliminary ideas, but my initial reaction is that you want something interactive to draw people. So if you put something on the roof, you get a lot of visibility, but have you lost that idea
I don't know.
of touching the bunny?
Which
is really
well, you have lost. I mean, if you put it on the roof, you're not touching the bunny, but you're creating a real icon. And again,
Yeah,
in that space, in parcel 22, we have an issue. There's not enough space to put the bunnies, right? But we're creating a classic, forgive me, it's old school interactive. It's people sitting together, listening to music, dancing.
How much
Right.
space do you need for those bunnies?
For those bunnies,
Thank you,
Depending on the park.
well, right. Each of those, well, there are actually several different sizes of bunnies. I'm glad you asked.
We're medium-sized bunnies. Just give me an answer.
Seriously, really simple answer. The bunnies are designed. The bunnies, each of the bunnies have a footprint. You know, the larger one's footprint is about like this table because it's long. The others are 10. There are 5 in the initial set. Now we're up to
Every day there's a couple more, Joe.
They're free.
That's a good idea. I can see how many.
No, you don't need that big a space. You don't need-
Joe, it's in your program.
We got plenty of room.
Joe, it's,
We got plenty of room for bunnies.
Right here,
And
Put the bunnies
Joe,
on the roof.
I need permission to speak. Joe, may an outsider speak?
I don't know about that all. Just be
Please.
brief, I am starving.
Please, yes. Couple things about events. Peter's mentioned, breaking ground on this, breaking ground on that, the stack opening, etc. I believe clustered in October, there's a number of new and exciting, South Street Landing, etc., where we got a number of announcements that could be packaged, not as individual events, but let's come and celebrate. So, come to the shack, come to this, come to that, maybe have music, maybe have, other things. But I think you can draw on a number of different little events to make a big event.
Sounds really good. The sum of the parts.
Yeah.
Pete, one question. When is the bridge supposed to be in operation?
September 1, 2018.
Soon.
Which argues,
I think the bridge will not be part of that celebration.
But there is something that can be part of that celebration, and I didn't ask Joe's permission, but there is a 10-foot boardwalk that is happening, because I visit with the guys in the trailer about every other day, where we can do the blue and white, remember the blue and white balloon bridge? Well, we can bring that back along with the things that Olin is talking about. So there's a children's event, there's all this other stuff. So we start to have this multi-act circus going on.
Years ago, building in San Francisco, a new building, Spire, they got a 30-foot.
They did an 8.
Oh,
yes.
That's up on the top. And it looked like a gorilla, it looked like a cow.
Well, should you build a tower across the street?
I wouldn't be able to see that high up.
A Superman building.
That's true, Superman building.
Actually, I thought the coloration of that building in Paris probably could adapt that.
Look, this is great.
So you'll be back?
Soon.
You'll be back with some,
Yeah, I think the idea is if everyone, I don't know, again, Pete guide me here, but I think the idea is if everyone feels that this is a good step forward, then we come back in time for the next meeting with some specific, we'd like to do this and this. And
Various options,
Right.
short many, not a.
yeah, please show me. I think the only, to be honest with you, the big thing we're fighting against here is time. Right? Because we want to be up and launched in time to open with the shack, at least some of the stuff. We've got to roll it all out together.
Well,
Why don't you come back as soon as you can, and then we'll figure out how to deal with it.
Truthfully, let the shack have a few weeks in opening first, you know,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, that's
you
what
could
we're
do it-
planning to
Yeah,
do.
you could
A
let
little
it
bit of
be
a
more
soft rollout.
closer to, a little later than the shack's actual opening.
What do you
I
expect
think
for
so.
opening date there?
End of August.
In August.
In August.
The conversations have been, if we can get them up and running in August, which hopefully will happen, that maybe by in October, once they've had a couple of
Right.
weeks of soft
Right.
opening,
Right.
we might do some kind of big Oktoberfest. Not necessarily Bavarian style, but an October rollout, which would go well with what you're saying.
When's the groundbreaking for Wexford and Gary?
Hopefully, we'll get, Wexford hopefully before then, hopefully before our.
So we can manage those events that fall at the same time.
And
So this is a PR event, it's not really starting the building.
And,
Some of them.
Joe, and I think we have, we would want to see receptivity if we should come back with some more coherent and defined plans. I think the answer is yes. I would ask, remind us that, we don't see this as a frivolity. This is actually making us a better, more attractive place for investors and, corporations. So it needs help.
With the loan on deal, I was going to say this and I forgot. It was supposed to be a 2-year program and then they were going to tear it down. It became too popular in the city. Not only with the city, they wouldn't let the public was too supportive for them to get rid of it. But in addition, there were several tenants who moved into the buildings that were being built across the street, including a fancy hotel. And they all said, "You're crazy, you can't take this down." It became essential to the community.
I don't want to cut off the conversation because it can't continue. But I'd love a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor? We're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Let me show you something.
Promise.